Hello and welcome to this special broadcast right here on CNBC TV 18. I'm coming to you from the Bharat Mandapam, the very Mandapam which hosted the G20 conversations. But today I come to you specifically with respect to the India Mobile Congress, the 7th edition to be specific. Now keep in mind that the big message that has been sought to be sent out by the government leaders, by the industry leaders, is that far from being a technology seeker, a technology consumer, India is trying to position itself, or should try to position itself, as a technology supplier. That's the key message that is being sent out. In fact, the Prime Minister arrived at 9:45 sharp today. He entered the exhibition hall. The first pavilion that he went to was the Jio Pavilion. Akash Ambani was there, ushering the Prime Minister through the Jio Pavilion, showcasing technology such as space fiber. Subsequently, the action then moved here to right behind me, the inaugural session. The first up was the Telecom Minister himself, Ashwini Vaishnav. He talked about the fastest 5G rollout and how India is actively working with bodies such as the ITU to ensure that India takes the lead in standard setting, not for 5G, but in fact for 6G as well. In fact, he was followed by Akash Ambani himself. He talked about how Jio had exceeded expectations in terms of faster than expected 5G rollout, the fastest in the world. In fact, he talked about how there have been cells going up every 10 seconds, that the pan-India coverage has been completed by Jio, and that the Jio network alone comprises of 85% of the 5G capacity in the country.
कि हम मोबाइल और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में अपनी सफलता को और आगे बढ़ाएं, कि हम भारत में स्ट्रांग सेमीकंडक्टर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर का निर्माण करें.
We at Jio unleashed the fastest rollout of 5G technology witnessed anywhere in the world, deploying a 5G cell every 10 seconds. Jio has installed over 10 lakh 5G cells across all 22 circles of India. I am humbled to share that Jio alone has contributed to 85% of the overall 5G capacity in the country. Now Jio can provide 5G access to over 200 million unconnected homes and premises, making India the broadband capital of the world.
Over the past year, the Vodafone Idea team has worked diligently to prepare the core network for 5G deployment. In the coming quarters, Vodafone Idea will initiate significant investments in order to roll out 5G networks and further expand 4G coverage across the country.
5,000 towns और करीब 20,000 villages में Airtel का 5G लग गया है. By March 2024, we would have covered the entire country with 5G network, and this will be truly the fastest 5G rollout anywhere in the world. Satellite communications is here to serve every inch of our country and of course the globe. We were able to get 2 rockets, GSLV Mark III, from ISRO to launch 72 satellites last year, and today OneWeb constellation, in which Bharti has the largest stake, is ready to serve the globe, is ready to serve the country from next month onwards.
Rollout of 4G and 5G has been absolutely transparent. It has been life-changing. It has made a huge difference in people's lives, and today India is emerged as one of the major technology developer, manufacturer, exporter of telecom technology, not just the importer.
Give us a sense of the role that India can play in terms of standard setting, in terms of taking the lead for 6G.
6G is right now in the process of development. It will take about 4 to 5 years before the first 6G products are actually launched commercially. So this is the right time for us as a country to make sure that we start working on 6G, because if we start now, then we can take the lead in the entire technology space. And we want to take lead in developing technology, in creating our own IPR, in using our IPR, Indian IPR, to be used all across the world. That's where the crux of the Prime Minister's focus is. That's why just a few months back, Prime Minister had launched the Bharat 6G vision.
We've seen Jio, phenomenal pace of rollout for 5G. Mr. Sunil Bharti Mittal also confirmed today, March 2024, Bharti will also complete its rollout. Mr. Birla as well said a lot of work is being done on the core networks. We'll see deployment very soon. Does that give you confidence that even the third player, the third private player, is coming on board and giving the assurance in terms of a 5G rollout?
So I'm very happy that Mr. Birla announced it today, that they will be starting 5G installations very soon. So that's a very good achievement and very good progress.
One final question, sir. Mobile manufacturing has been key aspect. We've seen significant growth. The numbers, the graphs are very dramatic. What is the next step from here? Do we look at mobile components? Do we look at widening the portfolio of manufacturing being done here? What is the next step from a policy standpoint from your perspective?
In fact, today, mobile manufacturing has reached a level where many of the components and subsystems will now be manufactured in India. Already many have started, many more will start, because you need a basic mass, basic volume before which component ecosystem can develop. And that volume we have reached today. Today, mobile manufacturing is about $44 billion industry.
Well, I also reached out to the tallest leaders within the telecom industry, and there appears to be near unanimity, near consensus on a few aspects. Number one, the phenomenal pace of the 5G rollout. Number two, the gauntlet that the Prime Minister has thrown for rollout of 6G. Also, on the issue of the appetite that the Indian market has and the opportunity that the Indian market holds going forward for the industry.
The rollout that we have seen in India has been phenomenal. It's the fastest rollout seen anywhere in the world that we witnessed in India. It was a big challenge for us because we are the major suppliers, but we managed it, and it was all about planning, support from the government, and the ambition of the telecom service providers to continue the rollout. As far as the subscriber uptake is concerned, again, it's been extremely promising, and we expect that this will continue. As per our mobility report, we expect about 700 million 5G subscriptions by 2028. So still a long way to go, but looking very good.
In terms of looking ahead, you've mentioned 2028, and you've mentioned about how there could be 700 million 5G users. While that is, of course, on the minds, but one thing that is again weighing on the minds of the policymakers is where to go from here. The answer that fell from the Prime Minister and from the Telecom Minister is 6G. They're looking at 6G. They're talking about how India may have missed the bus for 2G, 3G, 4G, but that we need to take leadership for 6G. How would you reflect on that as an industry challenge?
No, I think we have demonstrated that in 5G as well. With the rollout that we did and the speed of the rollout, I think India, even though we started a bit late, has overtaken any other country globally when it comes to 5G deployments. And I'm sure we'll see similar in the subscriber uptake as well. When it comes to 6G, I believe, it's good to start planning, but I believe it's still a few years away. And, we are in the process of looking at what should 6G actually solve for us, right? So it's very preliminary stage, but I'm very happy that there is focus from the government on 6G from now, because we can do wonders in 6G again in India.
We are really at the cusp of technology explosion. Last year, if you remember, PM Modi had announced the 5G rollout, and in October, that's what happened last year. And we have seen in this 1 year, there's been a lot of traction in terms of 5G adoption by end user, and also enterprise will come up later. But I think it has been very, very exciting, and we have seen from MediaTek point of view, we have the entire gamut of chipsets for 5G technology, from the mainstream smartphones to all the way up to flagship. So, it is really a very, very important development in India, and I think we are really looking forward to the ongoing 4G to 5G transition.
Speaking of 5G, very interestingly, we saw the fastest 5G rollout. We already have 125 million 5G users. Do you see that appetite growing?
This 4G to 5G transition, we are looking at it as a very incredible opportunity for us because, that way we can kind of use our products of 5G chipsets more and more. And next few years, I think we will see more and more adoption of 5G chipsets for the end users, and that momentum is very, very good right now.
We've seen a dip in smartphone sales. That, of course, is a big segment for you, big revenue generator. But at the same time, we've also seen green shoots in the form of demand coming in from the auto space, from the world of IoT. How are things positioned for you? Are things on an even keel? Are you cautiously optimistic?
I think, India is a very important market, first of all, because of the demography that we have here, the youngest population in the world. I think that really helps to drive the consumer demand. So that aspect remains, whatever vertical you talk about. And, MediaTek is actually having many different verticals. So smartphones is something you mentioned. That's roughly 50% of the revenue. But there are so many other verticals which are doing very well, like, smart TVs, routers, smart speakers. All these segments are, very, very important for us, and they're doing very well.
1 year ago, we launched the 5G. The Prime Minister was here itself at the IMC and we launched the 5G. 1 year from now, we are already touching 125 million users. Our projections are that it should touch about 700 million by 2028. But these are just numbers, you're right. There is a big assumption of consumers, there's a big assumption of enterprise coming together for this. But what's also happening typical in India is the 5G manufacturing stack is getting, it's bespoke and it's typical to India as such as against the rest of the world.
5G is one aspect, and that's certainly something that the industry, I think, just borrowing from what the industry captains had to say this morning, is something that they're focusing on, that they're working on. Also 6G, I think that's a message that fell out of the speech of the Prime Minister as well as the Telecom Minister, that they want India to take the lead as far as 6G is concerned. Is it coming too soon? Do we need to perhaps build the foundation on 5G?
Frankly, in my own view, it's not too soon. So I don't think as a country, as a consumer, as a nation, we can wait for 5G to evolve, get mature, and then talk about 6G. So talking about it, being a part of the standard setting exercise right now, it's good timing, I would say.
We had Mr. Kumar Mangalam Birla talk of how perhaps there's a lot of work being done internally within Vodafone Idea, and that very soon we'll have 5G deployment by Vodafone Idea as well. Does that give you confidence in terms of the strength that the Indian telecom sector has, or does that perhaps maybe cause concern that so far we've only had 2 telecom players rolling out 5G networks?
So it is complex. The Indian playing field is complex. It's not easy. Regulations and policies are now adding stimulus, if you like. So I wouldn't say it's just a two-player game.
It's phenomenal, the vision that was shared by our Prime Minister to make this happen, to connect every part of India on 5G is truly phenomenal. From our experience, typically countries have taken between 3 to 4 years to get this kind of coverage. And this kind of coverage happening in India within 12 months is absolutely phenomenal. So I think we should all be very proud of it. But what's happened at the core of it is this kind of commitment by tier 1 operators like Airtel, Jio to step forward, to do huge amounts of network deployment, but also to look at technologies from around the world and including in India to make sure that the networks come across. The experience is ultimately what has to be measured out, and we're very, very proud that across majority of the tier 1, tier 2 cities, you can now experience 5G. And my own view is as we go forward into the next year, there'll be further network investments, particularly on the fiberization side, to really make sure that that delta experience from 4G to 5G really comes through.
We've seen a great amount of traction as far as the retail segment is concerned. We're yet to see use cases at a level where the enterprises are also willing to come on board. How do you see that journey evolving? Do you see that as a concern, or do you see that perhaps an opportunity that is yet to be uncovered?
I think it's a huge opportunity. In my own view, at least 50 to 70% of the value of 5G will actually come from the enterprise side rather than the retail side. So I think this is a huge focus for the entire sector. I'm talking of the telecom sector, I'm talking of the government, but even private sector. We are also part of the Vedanta group, and we're already evaluating what are some of those opportunities where you could bring in operational efficiencies, where you could look at asset monetization, asset monitoring, safety. All of those things could be very, very interesting use cases. I think India itself, manufacturing is scaling up, so I think timing-wise it's also very good when you look at Industry 4.0. Again, we're just at the initial stage. My own dream, for example, is that can we have driverless tractors in India? So instead of our farmers, facing the heat, at 40, 50 degrees in India, can we have driverless tractors? And they're looking at their technologies to get the best pricing for their vegetables. So those are kind of things that excite me.
Well, on that note, let's slip into a very short break. But on the other side, we get you interesting use cases and application of technology here at the IMC 7th edition. Well, the India Mobile Congress 7th edition is not just about the big voices. Very often it is also about very interesting and unique use cases and application of technology. And on that note, in fact, let me now throw it across to my colleague Shivani as well as Abhimanyu, who've had some interesting experiences at the IMC 7th edition.
Well, it's ISRO has made its mark globally with the recent landing of Chandrayaan-3 on the southern pole of the moon. And if you're interested in knowing the future plans or even the ongoing missions of ISRO, you should visit the ISRO exhibition here at the India Mobile Congress in New Delhi. What you see behind me right now is the LMV-3 vehicle of India's Gaganyaan mission. And look closely, if I can pan the camera to this part. This actually is the crew module inside the vehicle that will house the astronaut. This is not the only attraction here. ISRO representatives are showcasing futuristic technologies, and let me just take you to the quantum communication segment over here, where the ISRO representatives are showcasing really futuristic hack-proof communication. And right now, I am joined by Mr. Parthakumar, who will tell us more about the quantum communication. Mr. Parthakumar, tell me how this is futuristic and how this is hack-proof.
Yeah, so basically in our conventional communication, which is based and we are using cryptography, which is basically based on computational complexity. So when quantum computer will be developed, at that time the conventional cryptography won't be sufficient to provide security. At that time we should have a system which can fight quantum versus quantum. So we are like demonstrating here quantum key distribution. Basically using that particular communication, we can provide unconditional security. It is a hack-proof communication.
Okay.
So we are using a fundamental principle of quantum physics here to get the security.
Thank you so much, Mr. Parthakumar. Now, let me take you to the models of the recent heroes of ISRO, which is the Chandrayaan-3 orbiter. You can see small models of the Chandrayaan-3 orbiter and the rover over here, and this right here is the test vehicle for the Gaganyaan mission. So a lot of other interesting things here at the ISRO Exhibition Center and overall in the India Mobile Congress.
Reliance Jio Infocom has successfully demonstrated India's first satellite-based giga-fiber service, the ambit of which is going to expand in the times to come. It plans to connect and has already started connecting several previously unconnected areas which earlier were inaccessible due to several geographical reasons. For now, 4 areas across India have been connected, which includes Gir in Gujarat, Nabarangpur in Odisha, Korba in Chhattisgarh, and Jorhat in Assam. Jio is also partnering with SES to access minimum Earth orbit satellite technology, the only MEO constellation capable of delivering gigabit fiber-like services from space. The new satellite broadband service, Geospace Fiber, will be available across India. The satellite network will also support additional capacity for mobile backhaul and is going to enhance mobile connectivity across the length and width of India.
Right now, I'm joined by the CTO of Airtel Business, Ms. Satkirti M, and she's going to take us through various use cases being showcased here. Satkirti, thank you so much for joining us here. Tell us more about how Airtel is rethinking and reimagining healthcare using these products.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think today, if you look at any patient that's available in home care, so here in our collaboration with Care Nation, what we have in place is basically you have a home kit, and this home kit, what it does is it has a camera. So any patient, be it a diabetic, hypertension, or any heart patient, whatever medication or treatment that he or she is taking, and largely I think after what we went through to COVID, these were some of the use cases that we thought about and worked together, is home care today is becoming extremely crucial for patients. So because they really can't step up. So this allows us to actually, for the patient, to take the necessary medical actions at home, and it is captured in the video. Like for example, it's he or she is taking insulin for diabetes, and this is fed back to the end hospital or the doctor who's available. And this feed, when it goes back, there are medical coordinators, etc., who look at it and then inform the doctor if she's doing a great job or there's something that is weird. So thereby it comes back as information saying you have not taken an injection and this is the right way and methodology to do so. This is one entire methodology that we're doing. Then we have another complete care thing that's available as a complete platform that's available, where we give a much more complex and critical care unit that we have that's available at the patient's end. So we move forward out here. You can see that you have a high definition camera that's available at the end customer. This is largely for critical care patients who prefer to have something called home ICU. So basically there you will have a camera that monitors all the vitals of the patient. And there are certain requirements such as, they train nurses, etc., who will basically measure the pulse, etc., be it any other, thing. And all of them are Bluetooth enabled. So Airtel today powers through our 5G technology and with collaboration with, Care Nation, giving a much more complex and a complete solution to the end patient so that we have much better healthcare that's available to us.
Well, that was just day one. We've had the benefit of speaking to the minister, the tallest leaders of the industry, as well as interesting use cases. But there's so much more here at the India Mobile Congress. It stretches across the weekend, Saturday and Sunday as well. Stay with us. We will continue to bring all the action from the India Mobile Congress, the 7th edition. And with that, it's a wrap of day one. But we'll be getting you lots more on day 2 and day 3.